Today we're checking out the all-new Pixel 8a. Current price of this is $499, but I'll leave a link down below with current pricing and more information. You've got 4 different color options. The one shown here is called Aloe. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. You can also get 256 gigabytes for storage now instead of only 128. Okay, this actually looks really close to the photo on the website and on the box. Definitely a little more shiny for the camera bar. This comes with Android 14 right out of the box. And one big upgrade with this phone is you now get 7 years of software support, where the previous Pixel phones were only 4 years. Which is kind of crazy for a more affordable phone like this. You're not going to see that from most of the competition. Now you've got the same size 6.1 inch OLED display at 1080 by 2400 resolution. Up to 1400 nits brightness, 2000 peak brightness. The Pixel 7a was 90 Hz. Now you can go up to 120 Hz refresh rate. It's IP67, dust and water resistant, but I really like the matte finish for the rest of the phone. You can see this one's probably a little more rounded on the corners. Nice matte finish on the edges. You've got your SIM card removal tool there on the back. Customer support and safety and warranty information. USB-C to USB-C charging cable. And they're still including the USB-C to USB-A adapter if you want to use that while switching from an older phone. You can see how it's changed from the Pixel 6a to the 7a and now the 8a. It's definitely feeling a little more premium versus when it first came out. I like that they made the power and volume buttons a little bit bigger there on the right hand side versus the Pixel 7a. Here it is next to the Pixel 8. You can see it's getting really close in design to that one. I also got the official silicone case from Google. Feels like pretty nice quality. The only thing I did notice, I don't know if it's quite as grippy as the Pixel 8 silicone case though. You also don't get the metal buttons on the side like the regular Pixel 8. One other difference is you can see they cut out where the charging port is. The case itself actually looks really good. It's not going to protect the camera visor on the back as good as some of the other cases out there, but as far as looks and design, this is definitely one of the better looking cases out there. Of course, keep a lookout for my video for the best cases on this phone, hopefully later this week. And then of course, when setting up, you've got Face Unlock. You've also got the swipe to navigate or 3-button navigation as well. Okay, pretty nice green wallpaper there. Fairly similar to the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro. You'll notice there is a little bit larger chin or bezel down at the bottom. It's not really that noticeable if you have a darker wallpaper, just something I thought I would point out. As far as the screen quality goes, it's gonna look and feel very similar to the other Pixel phones. It also feels like it's plenty bright enough as well. I always feel like the fingerprint's a little bit slower on Pixel phones compared to Samsung, but this one actually feels pretty good so far. They might have done something to make that work a little bit quicker, not sure. It's also nice you can change it from 60 Hz to 120. Looks like it's on 60 by default. Storage wise, it's using about 14% of the 128 gigabytes available. Again, they do offer the 256 gigabytes now for those of you that need extra space. Of course, the software on this is going to be very similar to the other Pixel 8 phones and the Pixel phones that have came out the last couple years. It's definitely one of my favorites as far as Android software, even though I've been using my Samsung phone here recently. You've also got Google Discover left of the home screen, pretty similar notification shade to all the other Pixel phones, and you can add quite a few things like live transcribe, VPN, recorder, extra dim, nightlight, dark theme, and so on. One thing I do wish they would update on Pixel phones, when you go to recent apps, I feel like it would be better if they just had a clear all right there instead of swiping all the way over and then hitting clear all. Nice thing is, because the camera visor's not quite as thick or it doesn't stick out as much as on the 8 Pro, you can actually use controllers like this for gaming, which is always nice. And of course, you now have the Tensor G3 processor that the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro have. Performance-wise, it's slightly less than the Pixel 8 in single and multi-core scores, but fairly similar to the Pixel 7a, and it's about the same as the Galaxy S23 FE in GPU scores, which is a nice jump up from the Pixel 7a. It does get a little warm when gaming, but not too bad. When playing PUBG Mobile and Asphalt 9, it was fairly smooth, but obviously it depends on which games you're playing. You've got a slightly larger battery at 4,492 milliamp hours versus 4,385. You've also got wireless charging. It's got up to 18 watt fast charging for wired. I also ran my typical battery drain test and it lasted about 12 hours, which is a little less than the Pixel 7a for some reason. Keep in mind there's a lot of variables when it comes to battery life, but considering my Galaxy S22 Plus only lasted about 8.5 hours, the Pixel 8a feels like it's got really good battery life for the price. This doesn't have the loudest speakers out there, but I feel like it's probably just loud enough for most things. Here's a quick sample just to give you an idea of what it sounds like next to the Pixel 7a. Pretty similar specs for the cameras as the Pixel 7a. You've got a 64 megapixel wide angle lens. You've also got a 13 megapixel ultra wide and then a 13 megapixel front facing camera. You get a lot of the same features on this as the regular Pixel 8. Best take, audio magic eraser. You've got long exposure, portrait, photo, night sight, panorama. It also separates the photo and video features here. When you switch it over to video, you got the option of 4K up to 60 frames per second. You also have video stabilization. You also have speech enhancement. Nice thing is you have cinematic pan, video, slow motion, and time lapse. Pixel phones are always one of the best out there when it comes to photo, even in the more affordable A series. But here's a few samples just to give you an idea of what to expect. It might be hard to tell from these samples, but the camera quality is really nice on here, just as you would expect from a Pixel phone. I'll have to compare it to some other phones that I have, but so far, it seems like pretty good quality in most situations, and I don't think most people would realize this is not a flagship phone. Like I said, I'll be comparing this to a couple other phones that I have to see how it compares, but I really like the build quality and the design on this phone. It definitely feels like it's more premium than you would think for a phone in this category. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.